Let's pivot to something that's less spicy. Let's talk politics.
Yeah.
You stuck with Donald Trump through the Saudis, obstructing the Mueller investigation, asking Ukraine for dirt on Biden, pardoning Roger Stone, Steve Bannon, and Charles Kushner, who you put in prison.
You want to go back and, cherry pick some of that stuff, that's fine. I know who I am and I know what I've stood for.
Why should we believe any of your critiques of Donald Trump then?
And Doge was completely ineffective. It was all bullshit.
I mean, USAID is dead.
Don't change the question now.
I'm saying I've gone through breakups that had a longer gap.
When you use 2020 as a broad 365-day program there, get real about your research, okay?
But Governor, isn't that how a year works?
No, it's not. You're proving your point that you can't win arguments with a lawyer.
I told you guys, this guy will scrap. My man will scrap. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is not afraid to scrap. And even though, as you will see in this interview, we disagree on a lot.
This is the problem with your view of politics.
Okay. I genuinely respect his willingness to come on here and duke it out. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Hasan, why are you even having Chris Christie on your show? He was the first elected official to endorse Donald Trump in 2016. He made millions off his political connections after leaving public office. And he was caught sunbathing on a beach with his family that was closed for COVID in 2020. That is not true. Don't jump to conclusions. He was the first elected official to endorse Donald Trump in 2016. Yes, he did make millions of dollars off his political connections after leaving public office. And he was caught sunbathing on a beach with his family that was closed for a government shutdown in 2017. Not COVID in 2020. Look it up. Everyone remembers this wrong. In all seriousness, I have been trying to get Chris Christie on this show for 2 years because I am fascinated by his battle to get the Republican Party back to what it was before Donald Trump. A Republican Party that some might say created the conditions that led to Donald Trump. But he disagrees. So we talked it out. And I asked him why, if his party is so bad, he doesn't just bail. Is there anything that would make you vote for a Democrat? And I asked him straight up whether Republican voters even want what he's selling. Do you think the Republican voters want the truth?
You know what forces people to have to listen to the truth? Losing.
We also talked about his pivotal role in a Supreme Court case that unleashed the wave of gambling and gambling addiction we are now seeing across the country. I have not taken any money from any sports gambling website. Do you have anything you'd like to disclose?
No.
Hey, life's more fun when you're in on the action.
Hurry right away, no delay, stop
Lawmakers are fighting to stop the Trump administration's dismantling of a $386 million ocean observatory project. This project has been collecting data on ocean circulation, marine ecosystems, and extreme weather patterns for the last decade. Donald Trump wants to scale back the initiative by 55%, removing many of the system's instruments, leaving coastal communities vulnerable and impacting our ability to monitor El Nino. Just another day in paradise, folks. I read about this farce on Ground News, HMDK's favorite independent news platform. Ground News shows a breakdown of publications reporting on a story in which way each tends to lean politically. It's not about completely eliminating bias. We all have our biases, but Ground News helps us see more of the whole picture, making us more informed consumers of the news. I was not surprised to see that very few right-leaning publications were reporting on the story. Dare I say it's because it makes Donald Trump look like a bumbling oaf. But hey, that's just my interpretation. Let's cut through the noise together. Go to groundnews.com/Hasan to subscribe and get 40% off the unlimited access Vantage plan, which breaks down to just $5 a month with my discount. That's groundnews.com/Hasan. Now, you were instrumental in the legalization of sports betting, so I want to see how good of a gambler that you are. I would like to play a game called Guess the Odds. What do you think the chances that the US government confirms that aliens do exist by December 31st?
I think it's 5%.
Wrong. Polymarket odds are 16%.
16.
By the way, I want to just...
Still not great.
By the way, Governor, I want to just establish this.
Yeah.
Real people are betting on this. So these are real odds that we pulled from Polymarket.
And isn't that disturbing?
Yes.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, you're seeing the larger social commentary
Yes.
here. Okay, now this is a fastball down the middle for you, Governor.
Okay, well, get ready.
Who will be the 2028 Republican nominee for president? Give me a name.
This is who Polymarket thinks it will be.
People on Polymarket are betting.
I'm going to say Polymarket right now is saying Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio's in second place.
Okay.
Number one is J.D. Vance at 37%.
Where's Marco?
Marco is number two at 25%.
I'm a little surprised by that.
Really? You thought it'd be higher?
I thought Marco's stock was rising right now, but
Okay.
All right, maybe he was a lot lower than 25 before. Who knows?
Number 3, Tucker Carlson at 6%.
Oh, please stop. That's ridiculous.
6%.
Those are people who just want to give money away. They're betting on Tucker Carlson
I mean,
to be the Republican nominee.
with all due respect,
Why
Governor,
don't you just throw your money in the fireplace? I mean, seriously, Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson at 6%. With all due respect, Governor, anyone who's on Polymarket's throwing their money away.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is at 2%.
And by the way, that's Donald Trump's money. He bet on himself.
Let's talk about the other side. Who will be the 2028 Democratic nominee for president?
Who does Polymarket say?
Who is Polymarket saying that this person will be the top candidate?
Polymarket probably says Gavin Newsom.
You're correct. Gavin Newsom at 24%.
There you go.
Kamala Harris.
More wasted money, by the way.
You don't think he's going to be the nominee?
I do not.
Who do you think it's going to be? I'll go down the list. Who do you think?
It's not going to be Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris is at 9%.
Yeah, no.
AOC is at 8%.
No.
Mr. Beast is at 1%.
Mr. Beast, he's got a shot.
We're in agreement. I actually think Mr. Beast should be higher. I think he would think that's the greatest heist he could pull off.
It would
Talk about
be.
the virality of that YouTube video.
Yeah.
I will be running for president of the United States of America. It's going to get a lot of views.
Look, it's the way people felt in 2015 when Donald Trump came down the escalator.
Totally.
So, Mr. Beast is not out of play.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
We're talking about gambling. Back when you were governor, you fought a federal ban on sports betting and took it all the way to the Supreme Court. Now we're having this conversation in 2026. It is now legal in 39 states.
Yes.
Now, as a member of the Sports Betting Hall of Fame,
I am.
do you feel like the industry has had a net positive impact on sports fans, sports teams, and society at large?
On sports fans, yes, because I think that you have more of them. More people are watching sports, interested in sports, because they can put a little money on it. And I think that they generally, in most of them, not all, but most of them enjoy it more because they have a little action and they feel like they're part of it. For sports teams, I would say it has been great for the sports teams' owners because it's increased the value of those teams.
Oh, wait, Governor, can I just stop you real quick? I just have to stop for a quick ad break real quick.
Is that the way you make money?
Yeah, this is how we make money.
All right, well, then go ahead.
This episode of HMDK is brought to you by DraftKings. Play now to win big prizes and elevate your game day experience with DraftKings. If you or someone you know struggles with gambling addiction, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to suffer alone. DraftKings. Life is more fun when you get in on the action. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, well, yeah, where were we?
We're talking about sports,
society in general.
sports teams,
Look,
society in general.
I think that for society in general, it has probably gotten more people to bet than had done it before illegally. And, I think it's a net neutral. I don't think it's horrible for society, but, it's another vice and people have to learn how to control it.
Are you familiar? Do you know Adam Silver? I'm sure you guys probably know each other.
I've met the commissioner, yes.
So, obviously, you know that the commissioner, with this Chauncey Billups story, with a lot of the gambling stuff that's happening, he's in quite a hullabaloo right now, in a tizzy with what's happening right now. You've also seen the footage of people at games screaming at the players.
Yeah.
You fucked up my parlay, pardon my French, Governor.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Look, I think there were plenty of people who were doing that before, too. And on the Chauncey Billups stuff, what I would say to you is that the stuff that went on in the NBA, stuff that went on in MLB with the players who were had people betting on whether they would throw a strike or not on a particular pitch, you wouldn't have found out about that if it wasn't for legalized gambling, because it wasn't like the mafia was going to call the MLB and say, "Hey, by the way, this relief pitcher from the Indians, or the Guardians rather, is in on the game here." Right. So I think
you mentioned this before that it being on these apps kind of basically put it in the blockchain. It's documented.
Yes, and it increases the likelihood that you're going to be able to discover it because they have an affirmative obligation legally, regulatorily, to watch for unusual betting and to report it both to law enforcement and to the league.
So at the time, when you took this case to the Supreme Court, it went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
What was your thinking behind the repealing of the ban on sports betting?
Well, first off, remember that back then when we started the lawsuit, it was 2012.
Yeah.
And the idea that everybody would have a betting app on their phone was not even conceived of yet, right? So what I was thinking was Atlantic City was getting a lot of competition from casino gambling around the country. I was looking for a way to differentiate Atlantic City from all these other new casinos. So I said, let's get sports gambling in New Jersey at the casinos. That was the original thought. It obviously evolved over the 6 years that the case went on, but that was the original thought, was we wanted to make something different in the Atlantic City casinos to try to draw more people there.
Gambling looked very different in the 90s. It looked very different in the 2000s, the early aughts. You're talking about 2012. What do you think about it now? I mean, 2026 gambling, you now have a pocket bookie where you can gamble 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's not even just the small-time Goodfellas mob stuff anymore. You are now in every person's pocket the moment they wake up.
You are. And I think that any concerns that people have had about it, a lot of them have been addressed by dealing with not allowing people to use credit cards anymore. So you can't run up debt to go on at least the regulated websites, right? So you got to have cash to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it better. So I'm less concerned about that than I was in the beginning of it when people were able to use credit cards to put money on there and then they're paying incredible interest rates on that money on their credit card. That could create a huge problem for people. I think now that they've gotten rid of that, I'd also like to see, parlays and those kind of betting go away in college sports.
Yeah.
I think when you have young people on campus betting on it, and then they're in, physics class with the guy or the woman the next day, there's much more interaction between those folks than with the pro athletes.
I mean, I'll be honest, Governor, the thing that concerns me the most, and for my generation, I think it's the virality of vice. Back in the day, you had your corner, drug guy, right? He's your local weed dealer. At no point did they make drugs available on an app. Do you have sympathy for the people that struggle now with gambling addiction?
Oh, of course, yeah. As I do with people who struggle for any type of addiction, whether it be drugs or alcohol. And I worked on that a lot when I was governor. So yeah, but I think in the same token, we're not saying that we're going to ban alcohol. We tried that once in the country, didn't work so well. So what we have to do is to try to deal with the people who have addictive personalities, get them the treatment they need so that they can get through it. And the other thing I'd say about the idea of the vice virality, as you put it.
The virality of vice.
Yeah. So, we see it with porn also. And the ability for people to get that online now, I think, is an even bigger problem, in many ways than gambling.
Right now, a Siena poll shows that half of men age 18 to 49 now have an active online sports betting account. A 2024 study found that over 700,000 gamblers found that only 4% of them actually made money from online betting, while 96% lost money. Knowing what you know now, would you go back and push a button and undo that case in 2012?
No.
Why?
No, because I still think that more people use it responsibly. More people are finding enjoyment out of it, much more of it. And the statistic just read, okay, so 49% of young men between 18 and 49 have an account. We don't have the correlation of, are they becoming addictive gamblers? Are they losing too much money? A lot of people that I know bet small amounts of money. They have fun with it. They compete with their friends. I think it's an overreaction.
Also, I just want to do this. I just want to give you full disclosure right now. That ad read that I did for DraftKings, that's not a real ad.
Of course.
Okay? I have not taken any money from DraftKings. I have not taken any money from any sports gambling website. I'm a practicing Muslim. I do not take money from gambling platforms. Do you have anything you'd like to disclose?
No.
Because life's more fun when you're in on the action. Isn't that right, Governor?
That's exactly right.
Because I remember shortly after you left being governor in New Jersey,
yes,
you became an advisor to DraftKings.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, let's pivot to something that's less spicy. Let's talk about something that'll unite the room. Let's talk about politics.
Yeah.
Now, you've gone hard in the paint against Donald Trump. You have said that the president is a bitter, angry man, undisciplined, immature, narcissistic, a certified loser, a verified coward, and the cheapest SOB I've ever met in my life. However,
right.
Here's the twist. You were the first elected official to endorse him in 2016.
Donald Trump revealing his newest weapon today, Governor Christie, and the surprise endorsement, saying he's now behind Trump for president.
I am proud to be here to endorse Donald Trump for president of the United States.
I know people in the comments will ask this, so I'm just going to ask you.
Yeah.
Why should we believe any of your critiques of Donald Trump then?
Because the critiques happened after that, not before it. I got to know him much better. And I came to a different conclusion than what my opinion of him was in 2016.
Pre-2016, he was none of those things. The Donald Trump that you knew.
No, I didn't say he was some of those things and not some of the other ones. But quite frankly, what I did at the time is what people normally do in politics, which is you run. If you lose, you try to help the person who gets the nomination for your party. And that's what I tried to do. And by the way, I admitted I was wrong. So, people make mistakes. It was a mistake to support him. But, it wasn't the only mistake I've made in my life, and it won't be the last one.
I appreciate your transparency here. Here's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. So you went on Hannity in April of 2021. This is after January 6th.
Yeah.
And Sean asked you on the air, what grade would you give Donald Trump? Do you know what grade you gave him?
Well, what was the question? Grade for what?
What grade would you give the president in regards to his performance as president?
Yeah, I probably gave him A-, B+.
You said overall, I'd give the president an A.
Right.
We're talking about Viking dude breaking in.
Well, that's not what we
the
were
office.
talking
We're
about.
talking about
That's not what we
dudes
were talking
parkouring
about.
through the Senate chambers.
It wasn't what we.
We're talking about a guy pissing on Nancy Pelosi's
but it
desk.
wasn't what we were talking about. It wasn't.
You're talking about his presidential performance.
Correct.
But that's part of it. That's the exit interview, you could argue.
By the way, that wasn't the question that he asked me.
Overall, how do you grade Trump as president?
Oh, listen, overall, I give the president an A. But the fact of the matter is that there were some things that happened specifically at the end of the presidency that I think had some things that clouded his accomplishments.
I'm a poli-sci major, okay?
Well,
60 units, I'm not trying to brag.
Well, congratulations.
Okay.
Me too.
Now, one time in political science class, I didn't include a bibliography on an essay, and they gave me a C+. Governor, if I pissed on my professor's desk, there is no way I wouldn't not be arrested.
Right.
And that would be calculated into the grade.
I don't know what any of you're saying right now has to do with a question that I got in 2021, but continue on.
I'm saying you have to include the assessment of January 6th into your overall assessment.
Look, and I did, and I ran against him in 2023 and in 2024, and I've been very clear about the way I felt about all the things that he's done in the interim as well. So you want to go back and cherry pick some of that stuff, that's fine. I know who I am and I know what I've stood for, and I've done things that other Republicans haven't even dreamed of doing.
Now, a lot of people in our audience, they don't know this. My sister's an attorney. You also were an attorney. You were the U.S. Attorney of the Department of Justice.
I was.
Okay, now let me tell you something. As someone with a younger sister who's a lot smarter than him, you don't want to argue with a lawyer. Okay, I've lost many an argument with my younger sister. She goes hard in the paint, but so do you.
Yeah.
Now, you made your name as an anti-corruption guy. As a U.S. attorney, you oversaw the convictions of 130 public officials. But you didn't fully break with Trump until after the 2020 election. So just to be clear, as an anti-corruption guy, you stuck with Donald Trump through the Saudis, shoveling money into his hotels, obstructing the Mueller investigation, asking Ukraine for dirt on Biden, pardoning Roger Stone, Steve Bannon, and Charles Kushner, who you put in prison.
By the way, this is all fun, but I spoke clearly out about my opposition to those pardons. And those pardons happened right at the very end of his presidency. So don't say I stuck with him through 2020. In fact, if you go back to my commentary on ABC on the night of the election in 2020, when the president came out and said he thought it was rigged, all the rest of it, I spoke out that day very strongly about the fact that I couldn't support him anymore because of that.
And I disagree with what he did tonight. There comes a point where you have to let the process play itself out before you judge it to have been flawed.
So when you use 2020 as a broad 365-day program there, get real about your research, okay?
Okay.
So,
but Governor, isn't that how a year works? A year works that way, though.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So good try.
I think it does.
Good try. You're proving your point that you can't win arguments with a lawyer.
Okay. Understood. You helped Donald Trump prepare for his debate against Hillary Clinton. Is this true? In 2016?
Yes.
Okay. You also helped prep him against Joe Biden in that debate in 2020. And frankly, you didn't really have to because I think President Joe Biden had dementia. Here's my question.
Yeah.
Do you think either of those two people that I just mentioned, Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, would have been more corrupt than Donald Trump had they won?
Look, I think they both had those problems. But do I think they would have been more corrupt? Probably not. No.
Why is there this kind of Republican false equivalency between Donald Trump's Scrooge McDuck open skullduggery and corruption, and then that gets compared equal to Hunter Biden laptop or Hillary Clinton's emails.
Look, you have to ask the Republicans who've actually done that and made that comparison. I haven't.
How do you analyze it? Do you see them as wildly different things?
Look, I think that all of them have had their own problems. And I think with Biden, the stuff that was going on with Hunter was fairly open corruption. Hunter Biden's paintings being purchased for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm no art critic.
Sure.
But it doesn't seem to me that's the right thing to do. Joe Biden pardoning all the members of his family on the way out the door is going to set a horrible precedent for what we're going to see that's going to happen at the end of 2028. So, I think there were a lot of things that went on in the Biden administration. And go back to the Clintons, there's lots of things we could talk about, from selling the Lincoln bedroom to a number of other acts of corruption, including the Mark Rich pardon by Bill Clinton, that Hillary Clinton was at least an adjacent partner to. We can compare all those things.
Sure.
They all
unsavory stuff all around.
Now,
you got to grade it though.
Look, but I think that, and I also think that Trump corruption term 1 significantly different than Trump corruption term 2. Trump corruption term 2 outstrips anything that's been done by any president in the history of the country, in my opinion.
I agree.
So it's all relative.
Look, I'm coming in hot, but like I said, as you walked in, I got to give you your flowers. You are a New Jersey scrapper. And one of the things that you've done is you've gone hard in the paint on tape. Okay?
Yeah.
I want to play back one of my favorite Chris Christie moments. Governor, this is you at the 2016 Republican primary debate when you body slammed Marco Rubio. Yep. Let's take a look.
But I would add this. Let's dispel with this fiction that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing.
That's what Washington, D.C. does. The drive-by shot at the beginning with incorrect and incomplete information, and then the memorized 25-second speech that is exactly what his advisors gave him.
So your state got hit by a massive snowstorm 2 weeks ago. You didn't even want to go back. They had to shame you into going back. And then you stayed there for 36 hours, and then he left and came back to campaign. See, those are the facts. Here's the bottom line. This notion that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing is just not true.
There it is.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
The memorized 25-second speech.
Well,
you called the audible.
Yeah.
You called the audible. You're like, I knew he was going to do it.
Well, that's
I knew
what
he was going to do
debates
this.
are. When you do debates the right way, if you want to be successful, they're about listening and reacting. And that's what Marco never understood.
Yes. And that man that you just unloaded the clip on, he's now Secretary of State.
Yeah. Oh, look, won my choice.
All right. Governor, here's the larger question.
There's a larger question?
Yes. I even wrote this. This is the larger question.
I can't wait.
No, this is it. This is the larger.
Is it in bigger print?
It's in bold, man.
Oh, well, here we go. Well, I'm ready. Let's go.
Governor, do shame and humiliation work against Republicans? Clearly what you did here is you called the play. You told him what he was going to do. You told the audience what he was going to do. He then did it. Audience boos him in unison. This should be the body blow. This should be the down goes Frazier.
It was.
But it wasn't.
It was. His campaign was over. You're now talking about 8 years later.
Sure.
He gets appointed by Donald Trump to be Secretary of State. It's not the job he wanted. He wanted Donald Trump's job. So I would argue to you that Frazier did go down.
He went down in that moment.
Yeah. And by the way.
And then Don King called him and said, you should be Secretary of State.
Well, and look, that's the guy we elected presidents call.
Yeah.
And I disagree with it, but it is what it is.
Do you think it was brilliant that Donald Trump, from the get-go, he kind of pulled what you did, which is, if I establish the media as the enemy of the people, everything that's written about him or said about him in the media, he can be like, I told you guys this was going to happen.
That's not working anymore.
You think so?
No, I just look at his poll numbers. His poll numbers tell you people aren't buying the act anymore.
Hey man, 70% of people agree with his position. In the Republican Party, 70% of Republican voters agree with his position in the war with Iran. They're in agreement.
Well, but the problem for him is that not only Republicans vote.
What do you mean by that?
Not only Republicans vote.
Right.
So you have 70% of Republicans. By the way, that's down from where he was after he got elected in 2024, which is about 95% of Republicans. So he's now lost, almost a quarter of his, or a little more than a quarter of his support within his own party. And if you look at the latest numbers from the New York Times Siena poll that came out, has him minus 61 among independents.
Yeah. You recently said there are no principles left in my party. The only principle is Trump. Here's my question. Why are you still in the party then?
Because I want to change the party. I'm not a quitter.
You can switch up.
No, I'm not a quitter.
You can sign and trade.
No.
You can go through the transfer portal.
He changed the party. I want to change it back.
Okay. So let's look ahead post-Trump. You want to fix the party and change it back.
Yep.
Now, what's left for you guys to do? Because he's been very effective while he's in office. So far, he has overturned Roe v. Wade, affirmative action, and most of the Voting Rights Act. He cracked down on immigration. He took a chainsaw to the bureaucracy. He pushed through a huge tax cut for the rich. Let me tell you something. I live in Connecticut. People are happy. He rolled back climate change regulations. So I would say if I was head coach, if I was like Mike Ditka for the Republican Party, I'd be like, gentlemen, we've already won. What's left? Pretty much you got to just abolish the IRS, give nukes to the LAPD, and then make people stand for the national anthem at AMC movie theaters.
It's an interesting sense of humor you have, but that's not, first of all, not all Republicans agree with all the things you just lined up. And
what do you disagree with out of
Well, I don't remember all the things that you zipped through in your very fast talk there. So you want to bring them back?
Sure.
Okay, I'll answer them one by one. Which ones do you want to go to?
Should we go through the list? I want to be respectful of time. Scott, should we go through the list? Okay.
Go ahead.
He always keeps me honest with time. Overturned Roe v. Wade.
I favor that.
He ended affirmative action and took it to the Supreme Court and ended affirmative action.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with his position on that. No.
Okay. They've gutted most of the Voting Rights Act.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what you said.
Cracked down on immigration.
Not the way he's done it, no.
Took a chainsaw to the bureaucracy.
He hasn't.
I mean,
that's just rhetoric. He didn't do anything. It's just talking about it.
You don't think Doge was a chainsaw to
and
the
Doge
way
was
DC?
completely ineffective. It was all bullshit.
But you admit that it's insane, right? That basically Elon Musk and a bunch of like 12 dudes on ketamine pulled up.
And by the way, that's why it didn't work. That's why it didn't work.
I mean, USAID is dead. That's part of Doge.
If you call getting rid of USAID, taking a chainsaw to the bureaucracy, I understand why you're doing it because of Elon with his chainsaw, at the conservative conference. But no, it didn't work. Ineffective. Because what's happening to you is that you're believing all the stuff Trump says he did, not what he really did.
I mean,
and real people know that
we had a Atul Gawande on the show. USAID is dead. It's done.
No, but you didn't. Don't change the question now.
Okay.
Read the point you made back to me. Took a chainsaw to the bureaucracy. One agency inside a multi-trillion-dollar federal government, I would argue to you, is not taking a chainsaw to the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is alive, well, living, breathing, and some would say thriving because he's done more deficit spending than any president in American history. So, but we don't talk about that anymore as Republicans.
Got it. Rolled back climate change regulations?
He's done a couple of things, but that's also been more talk than do.
Well, the Trump administration announcing an immediate pause on all large-scale offshore wind projects.
The Environmental Protection Agency has repealed its own landmark Obama-era assessment that greenhouse gases threaten public health and welfare.
President Donald Trump has halted a Biden-era program that helped fund EV chargers.
The Trump administration is planning to close its largest federal climate research center.
What else do you think the Republican Party needs to get done?
We have to get spending under control. Our debt is out of control, completely out of control. Both parties have contributed to it, but Trump has contributed to more than anyone else. And if we don't get that under control, the lives of our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will not be anywhere near the lives that you and I have been able to have. So that's one.
Okay. I don't want to cut you off.
Well, look, I could do a lot more. I mean, in respect for time, how much more you want me to do, but our foreign policy needs to change completely. The wrecking of our alliances around the world is going to absolutely inure to our detriment over the course of the next decade or more if we continue on that path. I think what we've done, what he's done in this country regarding civility and the lack of civility has now infected not just the political system, but more broadly into everything else. And you see that throughout the country where families can't even have conversations about political issues, many around the kitchen table or the holiday table, because people have been taught that the way to do that is to just, take out the meat axe and take it to your relative.
Yeah.
That's something
I agree on one of those two. I do believe that the United States' position on the international stage is absolutely abysmal. But I will say, families have always been arguing over Thanksgiving.
Not in the same way.
Really?
Definitely not in the same way.
Governor, you should
Definitely
come over to
way.
my parents' house.
You invite
in
me, I'll be
Sacramento.
there. You invite me, I'll be there.
We have been arguing through every form of partisanship.
There's a difference between arguing and the type of, and I can't believe you haven't seen it, the type of activity that's going on where people won't even bring up subjects anymore for fear of what the reaction of another person would be. Yeah. And that is something in our country. Our country was designed to be an argument.
Yep.
That's the way the system was set up. And he's such a snowflake that if you don't agree with him, he shuts down the argument through insults and even more severe action that he takes against people who criticize him.
Kolkata Chai has brand new tea bags. It is so easy, I literally don't have to think about it. Hot water, tea bag, mug, dunzo. Okay, but what do I think about now? But real talk, what is a microwave actually? It hums, it dings, it spins, but what is making the food hot? Hello! Screw you, countertop Chernobyl. Hard pass. Okay, just enjoy this moment for 1 second without, ooh, hello fridge. Oh, my chilly little frenemy. I tolerate you, but I do not trust you. Do you remove heat or do you add cold? Ew. I'm getting cold just thinking about it. You know, I should make some chai to warm up. Stupid Hasan, you're already making chai. But I forgot about it because these tea bags are literally doing all the work. Wait, is it a tea bag or a chai bag or a chai tea? Nope, no. Not going there. Just add hot water, milk, and sweetener of your choice. Honestly, it's the best chai in the game. I should go tell someone. I want to put a pin in that because what you're talking about, and you've been talking about this publicly, which is like political savviness, how to be an effective politician. I want to talk about your book first. Can I do that?
Whatever you like.
Okay. So in 2024, you wrote this book, What Would Reagan Do? Life Lessons from the Last Great President. You are nostalgic for the Reagan era, but I have a question for you. Aren't we kind of living through a Reagan era right now? I mean, Ronald Reagan famously fucked with Latin America, back to war with Iran, interest rates were out of control. Now look, at that time it was 20%. It's like 6-ish right now. But doesn't it feel kind of Reagan-ish?
No. Were you alive during Reagan?
I was alive during Reagan.
How old?
Yeah.
How old?
I was born in 85. So
yeah, right.
I was a small child.
So you didn't have a conscious memory before Reagan left office.
Tell me about it, because I remember Rocky IV. All they got to do is bring that back.
Yeah, well,
and Stallone is still cooking on Yellowstone.
Stallone is still, well, not
Yellowstone. Sorry, I'm sorry. Tulsa
stop,
King. How dare I?
How dare you?
You're right.
Kevin
Governor,
Costner is pissed.
Governor,
speaking.
That's where we draw the line. The DraftKings stuff. Don't worry about it.
I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you put Sylvester Stallone in Yellowstone.
No.
That's where you're lucky I don't get up and walk out on that.
No sly slander here. Hey, put the cuffs on me.
Yeah.
Please.
No cuffs necessary.
Okay.
Just get it right. That's all we're asking.
Okay.
No, look, the Reagan era is significantly different regarding our alliances around the world. What Reagan did around the world was to bring our alliances together, and folks worked together in those times with foreign governments, all across our alliances in Asia, in Western Europe.
Is your argument a call for decorum, the decorum of Reagan on the international?
Not only that, but
Reagan
actually did things. Reagan reformed Social Security and compromised with Democrats to reform Social Security. Reagan had a number of different actions when he was president on taxes and in other ways where he actually worked with Democrats, worked with Tip O'Neill to bring people together. You don't see any of that now. In fact, what you see is people who vote with the other party, from my party, are subject to the president going after them in primaries, as we just saw happen with Bill Cassidy just a few days ago.
And to be fair, he was very different. Reagan was very different on the issue of immigration as well.
Significantly different. No tariffs under Ronald Reagan.
Right.
He was absolutely opposed to that, wanted to have free trade around the world, and didn't want to put tariffs up in the same way that Trump is doing it. Spoke very eloquently about that as well. A totally different set of circumstances under Ronald Reagan than under Donald Trump.
Governor, how do you feel about basically the idea that Donald Trump essentially stole the tagline? I mean, Reagan was "Let's make America great again," and Trump is "Make America great again." What's your analysis on that?
Are we surprised that Donald Trump appropriated something and then claims it as his own. I'm not.
Ronald Reagan for president. Let's make America great again.
Tonight, we're beginning to do what is right and what is necessary to make America great again.
Well, I think it was oddly kind of fitting. Let's make America great again. Very welcoming. Let's. Hey, let's go get Korean barbecue, Governor.
Let us.
Let us. There's a great Korean barbecue spot right downstairs. Let us.
And by the way, it was not the
KBBQ.
central part. Reagan didn't make it a slogan. He made it an aspiration.
Yeah.
And that's significantly different because
Make is
Reagan
very
makes
intense.
it about everybody.
Yeah.
Trump makes it about himself.
But it's an ask too. Let us. Let's do this.
It's an ask rather than demand, but it's also the implication from my perspective is that Reagan wants to work with everybody.
Yeah.
Trump is demanding it be the way he wants it to be.
So you've been writing about this for a long time. Obviously, this is your 2024 book, but you also wrote a memoir in 2021. And you've been talking about this idea, these ideals of what America can be, but what the Republican Party can be. In your 2021 memoir, Republican Rescue, you wrote, "Our party has core values that matter. We believe in honesty and integrity, facts and fair play. We don't smear innocent people. We don't make wild accusations. And we can't tolerate people who do. Just like we can't align ourselves with violence, corruption, abuse, or racism. That is not who we are." I'm sorry, what party are you talking about here?
Yeah, no, that was my view of my party pre-Donald Trump.
You would admit, though, that the Republican Party has descended into a lot of these things.
That's why I wrote the book. It's called
got you.
Republican Rescue.
I got you.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, let's just say, look, Governor, you're out of office. I have a YouTube show. I'm available. Let's say you and we team up. We work on a fiction book. Okay?
A fiction book.
A fiction. Now,
Okay.
Kind of the way Bill Clinton's doing fiction right now, where it's grounded fiction. Hypothetically, let's say we write a character. Now, I know you think I'm a young man, but I got an old soul. Let's say we write a character that's kind of like Archie Bunker. Our younger viewers aren't going to get this, but I'm telling you, do your comedy due diligence. Archie Bunker was a great comedic character. Kind of a well-intentioned bigot, but like, bigotry light. Sometimes useful calorie. If we were to write an Archie Bunker character in our book,
Yep.
which party do you think he would lean towards in 2026?
In his type of bigotry, could be either. Could be either party.
You're telling me 2026 Archie Bunker's voting for Zohran Mamdani, voting for AOC, voting for Bernie Sanders.
Oh, he might vote for Bernie Sanders. Listen to Bernie Sanders. He might vote for Bernie.
Come on, Governor,
a lot of the same
it's
people.
This is a grounded fiction.
A lot of the same people who voted for Bernie Sanders in the Democratic primary wound up voting for Donald Trump in the general. Just look it up. It is absolutely the case. Populism is populism. And whether it has a liberal bent or a conservative bent, a lot of the same people who were Bernie Sanders people turned around and would not vote for Hillary Clinton and in fact voted for Donald Trump. And the polling numbers are there to show it.
I just think.
I know what you think. Your question was not very veiled. I know what you think.
All right.
Okay? So you don't need to clue me in on that.
Well, Governor,
I get it. I disagree with you. Okay?
Yeah.
I believe that there are bigots in both parties. And I believe that this populism movement on both sides have created a horrible, toxic culture. Is Donald Trump the king of that? Yes, he is. But there are a lot of people.
But you're also saying Bernie Sanders is contributing to this as well?
There's no doubt that Bernie Sanders contributed to it. And by the way, Bernie Sanders
He's
voters.
a walking carton of Ben and Jerry's. What are you talking about,
Bernie
Governor?
Sanders voters elected Donald Trump in 2016. All you have to do is go and look at the numbers. That's what happened.
You're right. There were some
Bernie
or bust people that defected.
guess they were okay with Donald Trump's brand of what he was selling. And you know why? Because much of it was the same as Bernie's.
In Republican Rescue,
Yes,
you went off on Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I did.
Have you apologized since?
No.
What? She's on The View all the time. You guys haven't pulled up at the studio?
I have seen Marjorie Taylor Greene in years. So no, I have not apologized to Marjorie Taylor Greene. In fact, I've only met her once.
You had some very choice words for her. How do you feel about her evolution? She's changed as well, Governor.
Look, I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene's evolution is her own personal evolution. And if she's more comfortable being in the place where she is now, I commend her for her willingness to change. I don't know if it's really genuine or not, but I have to take her at her word. So if it is, good for her.
she's one of the few Republican voices out there right now that is strongly critiquing Donald Trump. Do you consider her an ally now?
No, as I said, I don't know her. So I don't make someone an ally until I actually get to meet them and have a deep conversation with them about what they really feel and believe. So
how many convos would it take, realistically?
I really don't know.
Really?
Having never spoken to her,
okay,
except to say hello at an event one day, I wouldn't know.
Do you think maybe, look, I'm not going to put your guys' friendship or lack thereof on trial here. What I'm really trying to get at is, do you think that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene defecting from the Republican base and now critiquing the president, do you think that's part of a larger shift within the Republican base and specifically within young Republicans being anti-war?
Well, I think I said that earlier when I said you went from 95% of Republicans to 70% of Republicans. I think there is a shift going on, and I think that shift's only going to get more significant as the rest of his second term goes on. And if she's a part of that, I sense with her it may have been more personal than it was philosophical. But, you know, however you want to go and give honest and effective critiques of the president, I'm in favor of. If you're going to do it from an honest perspective, and they're going to be relevant critiques, not just ad hominems.
One of the things that I got to give you credit for is you are willing to go into the lion's den, the belly of the beast of your own party, and sometimes be booed. I want to show you a couple of clips of you going head to head with the Republican base, but I would love your thoughts about kind of what's happening.
Feel free.
Let's take a look.
The conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States. And you know, this is the great thing about this country. Booing is allowed, but it doesn't change the truth. It doesn't change the truth. Your anger against the truth is reprehensible. The problem is you fear the truth. The problem is you want to shout down any voice that says anything different than what you want to hear.
Your anger at the truth is reprehensible. Boo! That's me with my parents at Thanksgiving. I'm telling you. I'm like, Mom, that is an AI photo of Keanu Reeves. Boo! And I go, Mom, your anger at the truth is reprehensible.
Well, I wouldn't have raised the AI photo of Keanu Reeves to that level, but if you want to, that's cool.
Well, for real, like, in all honesty, for me as a comedian, one of my biggest fears is bombing or getting booed on stage. For you to go into your own base, these are ostensibly your fans, and go, hey, the way you're thinking about this is wrong. I got to give you credit, but what in your life shaped that mentality? Very few politicians would be willing to do this.
The way I was raised was that you are who you are. Don't pretend to be something else. My mother used to say to me all the time, be yourself, then tomorrow you don't have to try to remember who you pretended to be yesterday. And I remember that lesson from my mom very clearly. And I think that, you know, those moments it's what I believed. And I knew in both of those times, both the debate in 2024 and then the Florida convention that was in 23 in Kissimmee, Florida.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going in there to get a round of applause. But
what was your goal? Were you thinking?
Goal was to make them hear it. Someone needed to say it. I mean, one of the biggest reasons I ran in 2024 was you get lots of people in my party who will whisper it to you in green rooms at cocktail parties, but they won't say it out loud. I was going to be the guy to say it out loud because it's what I believed.
But you also
what I still believe.
You must have a belief that you can turn the room as well. Did you believe that you could turn the room?
No, not that day. You have to have a long-term view of this, and I have a long-term view of it. I think it'll turn, but it's not going to turn that day. But you got to start laying the groundwork. It doesn't happen like that.
So you're telling your team, look, I'm going to sit in the shit. They're going to put this on TikTok. I'm going to get memed, but I have a long-term vision that there's some, let's call it Mitt Romney version of the Republican Party that I'm fighting towards. I'm trying to connect with the rational, reasonable Republican base.
Yeah, my team was thrilled that I was willing to do it. That's why they were my team.
Do you think the Republican voters want the truth?
Well, certainly not all of them right now. Probably not a majority of them right now. But you know what? You know what forces people to have to listen to the truth Losing. Losing
That's
forces
fair.
you politically
Yes.
to have to listen to the truth. And I think we're on our way to a monumental defeat as a party in the 2026 midterms. And when that happens, I think people, for practical reasons, will begin to reevaluate whether they really want to continue to hear the things that led to the losing, or they want to hear some different ideas and different approach.
Do you really think the Democrats have a chance to win the 2026 midterms in a major way?
Oh, I think they'll win the House. And frankly, I think they've got a better chance at the Senate today than I thought they would have given the map. And if Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, wins his primary against Senator Cornyn, then I think it puts Texas in play as well in the Senate, so they could have an enhanced chance of that.
One of the things that people have said about you is that you are right now this Democratic Party whisperer. You're making allies, and you're the same way you coached Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020. Sometimes you also reach out to Democratic leadership to give them advice.
I've always reached out to Democratic leadership.
Well,
always.
What type of advice would you give them right now as they prep for the midterms?
Stop talking about Donald Trump. Start laying out for people what you would do differently. And I think too many Democrats, I think this was Kamala Harris's biggest mistake in 2024, was she spent all this time talking about what a threat to democracy Donald Trump was. The people who believed that, and it was their most important issue, were already voting for her. She needed to talk to that slice of independents, disaffected Republicans, and skeptical Democrats that probably amounted to about 8 to 10% of the voters who are like, we really don't want Trump again. Biden was a failure. Tell me how you're going to be different. And we talked about The View. I mean, I never saw a Democratic politician go on The View and cough it up as badly as she did. You know, when they say to her, can you tell us a way you'd be different than President Biden? And she said, I can't think of one. You know, I mean.
That was a layup. She blew a layup.
Yeah.
That was a layup.
Totally blew it. And, but worse, continued it as she went on. So I think, you know, people in the Democratic Party, if they want to be successful, need to speak to something other than Donald Trump. The Donald Trump case for most Democrats and Democratic leaders have been made. It's over. It's been made. What you need to get to win is that swath of independents who say, we don't trust either of you. What are you going to tell me? What are you going to show me to allow me to trust you?
In a recent interview, you said that the problem with the Democrats is they have no new good ideas. So I'm going to throw you some ideas that Democrats could adopt, and you tell me if you think they're good ideas.
Okay.
Because I'm in agreement with you. The public and the populace want to build towards something. So how about this? You tell me if this is a good idea or not. Stop Congress from trading stocks.
Good idea.
Fantastic. Medicare for all.
No. No. I do not believe in the government running the entire healthcare system.
Cut the Pentagon budget.
No.
Universal child care.
Universal child care paid by the taxpayers. Is that what you're saying? Because, look, I think every child should be cared for.
Yes.
Are you telling me that should all be paid for by the taxpayers?
Yes.
No.
Aren't they all of our...
No, they're not all of our children.
They are. This is the society we live in.
They're not.
I'm totally down.
No, they're
Governor,
not.
I'm down to pay.
They're not all our children. They're not.
I'm down to pay for other people's kids. I promise you.
That's
I don't want to pay for unnecessary
wars.
You
already are through taxes you pay locally and at the state level. But you're asking about universal child care to be paid for every child by the taxpayers. And my answer is no.
Okay. I disagree.
Fabulous.
Abolish ICE.
No.
Okay. How about this?
Just run it the right way.
And I knew you were going to do this.
How about run it the right way?
Okay, so how about, this is all I'm saying, is when I see a Dodge Caravan pull up with people in ski masks just grabbing an older Mexican lady,
that's running it
can
the
we
wrong,
not do it?
That's running the wrong way.
Okay.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement has a legitimate purpose in our country. It's not being used that way now because the president is using it illegitimately, and I would argue illegally.
Governor, I have two dudes that I went to high school with that have joined ICE. Let me tell you, it's not the brightest of the bunch. That's all I want to say. Hey, again, I can only speak to what I know anecdotally.
Bad hiring practices by the Trump administration.
Right.
That bureaucracy, obviously, the chainsaw didn't cut that part out.
Get the government to produce generic versions of life-saving drugs.
Get the government to produce them?
Come on, yes.
No. What's the government know about producing generic life-saving drugs? What do they know?
You can't make.
Who are the experts at the government
You can't
who you're
do.
going to trust? You're going to take that drug? I'd rather have it produced by people who have degrees that actually know what they're doing.
My
not by the government.
mother's a physician.
Yeah.
She does watch this on YouTube, and Governor,
Yep.
she will probably be inviting you to Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, the government can make a CVS branded acetaminophen. If CVS can do it, if you can do a
so
non-name
is
brand.
acetaminophen a life-saving drug? Is that what we got going now?
Okay.
That acetaminophen is a
You
life-saving
understand
drug?
what I'm saying. You can
Are you
make
dying from fever as
you
we
can
speak?
make non-name brand insulin. This can be something that can be provided to the people. The fact that it is astronomically higher in Canada is insane, Governor, with all due respect.
What's astronomically higher in Canada?
The price of insulin here in America
That's where
is
I thought you
astronomically
messed
higher.
that up.
Sorry,
and
I messed that up. I'm sorry.
And I didn't want you to be looking stupid. So I wanted to make sure I helped you out there.
Okay. I appreciate that, Governor.
It's astronomically higher
in the
your
United
analogy,
States of
here in the United
America.
States.
Yeah, and it's much lower in Canada.
Right.
And I'm saying,
And what I'm saying to
why
you
can't
is,
we do the RC Cola of
by the
insulin?
way, and the Canadian government doesn't make the insulin. Okay? Your question was, have the government make life-saving drugs, generic life-saving drugs. I don't trust.
Can we have someone else?
I actually listened to you, and I took your question literally.
Thank you. What if the government pays for it? How about that? So the right
government-
people make it.
The government pays. The government pays for a lot of it now.
Okay.
Through Medicare Part D and Medicaid for people who are most in need, are elderly and are impoverished.
Okay.
And I think that should continue.
Okay. Prevent.
I don't think they need to pay for it for me and you though. You got a nice suit there. We don't need to pay that for you.
Don't pay for me, Governor. I've said this. This is the same way I feel about universal child care. My kids are totally fine. I am
but then
totally
don't
down
call it
for every
universal
child.
child care. Say child care for those who need it. That's a different story. You're saying you're using words that imply everyone. And I don't think people who are doing very well in this country should have the government taking over, paying for their drugs, paying for their child care. I should pay for my prescription drugs. So should you. I should pay for my child care. So should you.
Okay. How about this? Let me pitch a better way to do it, because I know you can get caught into the talking points of it.
Not the talking points. I'm just listening to your question and answering it.
How about this? I got it. You've had this with friends. But if you need it, I got you.gov. And I feel like childcare is in need, healthcare is in need. I'm good. But if you need it, I got you.gov.
I got you.gov?
If you need it, I got you.gov.
Not only if you need it, but if you show that you can't pay for it yourself. That's what Medicaid is. And expanded Medicaid, which I expanded in New Jersey. That's what Medicare is for the elderly who are now on a fixed income and need it. We have that stuff now.
Okay, how about this? Preventing politicians from profiting off of former connections that they had while they were in office once they leave office.
I mean, conceptually, sure, but for how long? And how do these folks do what they do when they get out? But conceptually, yeah, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
I mean, look.
I appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure
because
you
I know life's more fun when you get in on the action.
Yeah, well, I know. Very nice. So I worked for DraftKings. Congratulations. And by the way, that wasn't a connection that I made when I was in government.
I'm just saying the timeline is pretty interesting.
Why would it be so interesting to you?
It was. I mean, the paint was drying. I mean, it was literally. It was pretty short after you leaving office, which is interesting. It's just an interesting.
Well, I couldn't take any jobs while I was in office. Could I?
I'm saying I've gone through breakups that had a longer gap. That's all I'm saying, Governor.
I'm confident you have.
Okay.
But I don't know what the relevance of it is.
All right. The relevance is by the way, some of the stuff that we've kind of butted heads on. And look, you're probably going to run for office again. I'm telling you, this is me to you with all due respect. These are popular policies with the American public.
Just because something's popular, if you don't favor it, this is the problem with your view of politics. If it's popular, you should be in charge of it. Okay. That's why you like Bernie Sanders. That's what populism is. Leaders listen to what's popular and then just do it whether they think it's good or not. That to me is not what leadership is. Leadership is using the judgment you've developed over time to make decisions on behalf of people, because we don't have a direct democracy. We have a republic. You elect people to use their judgment and to make decisions. And if you don't like the judgment they exercise, you can vote them out.
So what you're saying is when you say Democrats should adopt good policies, you don't mean popular policies. Do you mean basically Republican policies?
No. No. And in fact, I agreed with a number of the things in there that would be called Democratic policies. So no.
Is there anything that would make you vote for a Democrat?
Yeah, sure there is. Yeah.
What collection of issues do you think?
It would depend on the people.
Really?
I vote for the people. So if there was a Democrat who was running, who I thought...
Give me your Infinity Stones. It can just be 5. It's just 5. Governor, it's 5 Infinity Stones.
Explain Infinity Stones. I don't know what they are.
Infinity Stones, so in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thanos collects the Infinity Stones, which is his way of basically ending all of civilization. What I'm trying to do is I'm talking a positive version of it, which would be a way to help all of American civilization. What are your Infinity Stones? So mine would be like universal childcare, healthcare, education, and 2 more that I'd probably ask my sister for advice on.
Honesty, integrity, a strong national defense, a safety net for those who are underprivileged, and a legal system that makes sure that justice is done fairly and equitably for everyone.
Honesty and integrity, you could kind of collapse that into one.
There's 2 different things.
And that's great, by the way. One of the things that you've talked quite a bit about is this idea of people being politically talented. You're very good at identifying who is politically talented and who isn't. What does politically talented mean to you?
And at its basic core, the ability to connect with people.
Okay.
Now, there's lots of others, but but at its core, that is the indispensable part of political talent. You can add on to it with other abilities, but to me, the indispensable part of political talent is the ability to connect with other people.
Can you share this Bill Clinton story? Because you've famously said Bill Clinton was incredibly politically talented.
He's the gold standard.
Okay.
In my opinion.
A lot of people who watch the show know Bill Clinton basically as the dude who essentially fell asleep during the Democratic National Convention, that has recently become vegan. And then for some reason, there's way too many photos of him getting massages at airports by women that aren't his wife. That's what they know him as.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a 90s baby. I grew up in the 90s. I'm talking about fiscal surplus. Everyone in the Sacramento area has a Ford Explorer or Ford Expedition, Eddie Bauer edition. This was the golden age of America. Or it was my childhood and I'm just having recency bias. That being said.
Probably a little bit of both.
Tell your Bill Clinton story that made you say, wow.
It was the first time I met Bill Clinton in person. As it happened, it was at Donald Trump's wedding to Melania. You forgot that part of the story. Or maybe you didn't. You're just feigning amazement.
I'm doing it for the reaction shot. I knew it was at that wedding.
Okay.
Now the response, if I really wanted to get it cooking, was which wedding?
Yeah.
But I don't want to derail you.
You are professional.
Okay.
So we were at the wedding with Bill and Hillary.
Yep.
Don King, Shaquille O'Neal, Tony Bennett, Billy Joel.
Yeah.
It was quite the
heavy hitters.
Quite. I would say the way I would put it is quite the menagerie. You know, I
like that word.
Okay. And Bill and Hillary were 2 of the guests. And during the cocktail hour, there was probably about 300 people at the wedding. During the cocktail hour, I observed 2 things. No one knew who I was. They
didn't know who you were.
No, because I was the relatively new. This was in January of 2005. I was watching. It gave me an opportunity not to participate, but to observe.
Okay.
And what I observed was, at one point, Bill and Hillary Clinton. Hillary, there were pillars in the room. Hillary stood kind of with her back to a pillar with a staff member with her. And she was receiving people for handshakes and photos, and then they were being moved away from her. Her husband, the former president of the United States, was working the room. He was going from person to person to person and stopping and speaking to them. And I said to my wife, that's why he was a 2-term president, and she never will be.
In that room?
In that room at that time. I said, she'll never be president. And the reason she'll never be president is she expects, like a queen, everybody to come to her. When he, who has been president twice, is walking around to every person in that room to say hello and to talk to them briefly. A minute and a half.
Now, he came up to you.
He did.
What did he say?
To my wife and I. He said, hi, Bill Clinton. What's your name? And I said, I'm Chris Christie, Mr. President. It's an honor to meet you. And he said, Chris, Chris, what do you do for a living? And I said, I'm actually the United States Attorney in New Jersey. He goes, oh my goodness. God, I always wanted that job. Always wanted to be U.S. Attorney. Never got to be it. Because, I was Attorney General of Arkansas, of course. Governor of Arkansas. President, of course. But I always wanted to be U.S. Attorney. What an amazing job. And I said, it is a great job, sir. And he then turned to my wife and he said, sweetheart, what's your name? And she said, my name is Mary Pat. He said, Mary Pat, what do you do for a living? And she said, well, I work on Wall Street. While he was shaking her hand, he turned over his shoulder to where I was and he said, you dog, beautiful and rich.
Okay.
Then, at that time,
he called you a dog.
Yeah.
All
He's
right.
shaking her hand and he is rubbing her other forearm with his hand. And he says to her, darling, let me tell you something about your husband. Because he's U.S. Attorney. He's an ambitious guy. That means he's going to have a career in this business after this. But the only way he could be successful, if he has a good woman who knows how to treat him right. I'm sure you are. And she goes, well, I do my best, Mr. President. And he said, well, it's been such a pleasure to meet both of you. Really, 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 really mean it. And thank you. And have a great time tonight. Boom. Walked away. My wife looked at me after that and she goes, I never voted for him. Neither time. But I can see why people say he's charming. Because in that moment, she said, when he was talking to her, she felt like there was nobody else in the room. He was locked on her eyes. He's rubbing her arm. He's complimenting her. And then he, boom, like the wind, he was gone and on to the next. He has an amazing ability to connect with people. All the questions were about us.
Yeah.
No comments about himself other than he always wanted to be U.S. Attorney. He had this ability to connect with people very quickly.
Did you also feel charmed?
Well, in a bit because of who he was. I have admiration for, someone who gets to the presidency. But yeah, you can't help but like him. And I've seen him any number of times after that. And he's the same kind of charming. He remembers things about you that are kind of crazy that he remembers. And I think he's the kind of guy who can definitely charm. And he charmed me for sure.
So you're basically saying he's cool and charming.
At least those two things, and certainly a number of other things.
Have you hung out with a black dude before?
Sure.
With all due respect, Governor, there's two black dudes that work at CVS downstairs. They're way cooler than Bill Clinton. And they remember everything about me.
They very well may be, but they weren't president of the United States.
In one sentence, they'll hit me. They go, hey, what's up, eyebrows? I saw that YouTube short you did with Mehdi Hasan. In 1 second, in one sentence, they summarized the content that I've done as of a couple months ago, and they identified me by my bushy brows.
Tremendous.
But I feel great about myself.
I think that's an interesting analogy, but not necessarily apt.
All right.
But,
I'm saying,
but you're a comedian, so it's good.
I'm saying the dudes that work at CVS are funnier than 85% of the comedians I know, and they're more charming than 100% of the politicians
Here's the difference. Here's the difference with the guys at CVS and you and Bill Clinton. You get up on the stage and do it in front of a whole bunch of people. It's a lot easier to do it one-on-one.
Sure.
But the people who can do that, the one-on-one thing, and do the thing in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people, that's a different talent.
Who are the politicians that you see right now that have that political skill of being incredibly charming?
That have the Clinton-level political skill?
Have the Clinton-level political talent in Europe.
I don't see anybody right now who has that level of talent.
You don't think that that Zoran Mamdani, what he pulled off was a level of talent and political tenacity that was unheard of?
It clearly was, but I don't think Bill Clinton sustained that level of ability over a long period of time while also getting himself in,
all sorts of trouble.
Different jams,
sure.
right? But was
jams
able,
is a nice way to describe
right?
impeachment.
Thank you.
I like that, Governor.
And it was more than impeachment, were his jams.
Sure.
But
Quite the pickle.
He got himself in a number of problems.
A number of pickles.
And was able to, in fact, continue to sustain his connection with people.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Zoran can do that. If he
AOC? You don't see AOC?
No, I don't see that. AOC,
okay.
No chance.
She's certainly very charming.
I don't find her charming, but if you do, that's good. She's won in a congressional district. He was elected president of the United States. And she's won in a district it's impossible to lose in. So
yeah,
I would give Mamdani much, much more credit than AOC.
So in conclusion, I just wanted to kind of wrap it up here. You gave Donald Trump an A on Hannity for his job as president.
Yeah.
What grade would you give me for this interview?
Oh, I'd give you probably an A-. Yeah. Some of your stuff is imprecise, but other than that,
yeah.
Look.
I could have tightened it up.
Look.
I could have tightened it up like the people on January 6th did.
Well, you could have done a whole bunch of
things. I could have been more
things.
effective in my mission.
Well, you could have been more, you listen, I think you've been very effective in your mission. I think you're underselling yourself in that way. My minus would have only been for, some of the language you used that was a little bit loose, that you got to go back and tighten up a little bit.
Fair. That is
the
fair.
Use of language. But other than that, I think you've been pretty good in your mission. Absolutely.
You know what, Governor, I got to say, and I really want to say this genuinely. I want to say thank you for coming on the show. We've been trying to get you on the show for a long time. I appreciate how you're willing to grapple and deal with difficult subject matter. And I appreciate you engaging with both sides of the aisle. And I appreciate you dealing with Joy Behar, because she has been tough on me and she won't come on the show.
Joy will not come on this show?
We've been trying.
I don't understand why.
We've been trying.
You two, I think, would be an interesting interview to watch, because she's, she has her own tenacity to her as well.
She's a scrapper as well.
Yeah, she's a bit of a scrapper.
She's a scrapper.
But look, I think that the A- in the interview for me shows you two things. One, that I'm willing to listen to anybody who has some credible things to say sitting across from me, and two, that I'm probably an easy grader.
That is true. Governor, do you mind doing me a favor? Do you know who Ronnie Chang is, the comedian Ronnie Chang?
I've heard of him, but I don't know him.
You don't need to research any further. He was named after Ronald Reagan.
Wow.
Can you sign this book in his honor?
How about this? How about if I do better? Because whoever got that book for Ronnie, obviously cheap, gets him the paperback book. Yeah. I've got some hardcovers of that.
You want the hardcover?
No.
You can give Ronnie the hardcover.
Excuse me. I'm going to provide the hardcover for Ronnie. So you give me...
Governor, he doesn't need it.
Oh, no.
Remember, we only provide people who need it.
No. Well, no. Charitably, pardon me. Charitably, I could provide whatever I want to anyone.
Ronnie doesn't need to be a part of the nanny state. He needs to get his mouth off the government's titty.
Well, it's not the government, you see. This is me.
You're a former elected official.
The key word
Former.
there is former.
Yeah.
And this is why you got an A-. It's the imprecision of your points that make you fail.
Sure.
But despite that, I'm going to do this for Ronnie, because Ronnie's not here and he doesn't know that you were going to be imprecise in what you did. So you give me, either I can send it here, or if you feel free, give me Ronnie's address. I will send a signed copy of the book, but a hardcover book for Ronnie, because if he's named after Ronald Reagan, he deserves hardcover.
I'll have you send him the hardcover.
It'd be fabulous.
And you know what? He hates.
You know what else?
He hates putting his address on the internet. I'll gladly reply
don't put it on the internet.
I'm going to put it out on the internet.
No reason for you to put it out on the internet.
Because it was requested by Governor Christie. I will do that.
No, it was not requested.
What?
It was not requested to put it on the internet.
Okay.
It was to give it to me.
Sure.
And having been U.S. attorney, I know how to treat things with the utmost confidentiality.
Okay.
But if anyone is at least uncomfortable about that, I'll send it to this place. And then you can give it to Ronnie, whichever way. But I don't want Ronnie to be sitting around with a paperback.
Right. And as we know,
that's outrageous.
Yeah. And as we know, kind of American elected officials have never had their emails hacked. So it'll be super secure when I send it to you.
Again, what I said to you was give it to me. I didn't say email it to me.
You want me to write it down on paper?
That would be something that would be very secure.
Sounds good.
If you wanted to, because I know you're concerned about security may screw up your joke.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you're genuinely concerned about Ronnie's security, you give it to me on a piece of paper, and then I will have it absolutely thrown into a fireplace and burnt, so that no one will ever have that who doesn't deserve to have that address.
Governor will do.
Don't have it.
I think it's safe to say you love Ronnie Chang.
Let me say this. I don't know Ronnie Chang, but I love the fact that he was named after Ronald Reagan. And I treat him with enough respect to know that going to get a paperback book.
Bring him the hardcover.
Cheapo.
Let's get him the hardcover.
That's not right.
I'm the cheapskate.
Look, nice suit, great shoes. Spend a couple of bucks.
Get
it. But because you've been so good to me in this interview, I'm giving you the book. Not you. I'm giving it to Ronnie.
Give it to him.
You can keep that one if you want, and do whatever you might want with it.
Governor Chris Christie, thank you for being on the show.
Hasan, thank you very much.
This has been a long time coming, ladies and gentlemen. I told you guys, this guy will scrap. My man will scrap. They don't build them like you, Governor.
Well, you know,
There's
many would say that it's good that they don't, but I enjoy who I am.